It says that I'm live. Who knows? Shut the curtain. No, I need the vitamin D. Apparently. So, I've been thinking a bit lately. Thinking a lot lately? I don't know. Thinking some lately. That I really enjoy content on YouTube around benchmarking, technology reviews, looking at CPUs and GPUs, all that good stuff. And of all that content that I consume, almost every GPU review is based around, benchmarking for gaming, which is probably right, because I would say the majority of the market and the majority of people watching YouTube videos is probably more interested in whether the new AMD card can play PUBG at 60 frames a second in 4K or something like that. But I think that there's, as someone who has gone from sort of enthusiast in machine learning and stuff like that, I've been looking for people doing reviews on those types of GPUs, those workstation grade GPUs that are more around how fast can the GPU do like a Cipher 10 type, build a Cipher 10 training model. Can even if you wanted to be whimsical about it and see if a certain GPU is really good for running the deepfakes generation algorithm. I want to know things like, can I have my Razer Blade as a portable machine learning machine, or do I always have to rely on, my home lab setup, PC with mobile GPUs? Are external GPUs any good for machine learning? I don't know the answer to these questions, by the way. I want to see comparisons of the NVIDIA Tesla V100, which is a 16 gigabyte, I believe it's GDDR5 VRAM, versus the new AMD card that's also 16 gigabytes. Because there's a massive difference between like the NVIDIA Tesla cards you could probably pick one up for between £8,500 and £9,500 depending on where you buy it. But you can pick up another 16 gigabyte video card, like a consumer, or maybe more of a sort of prosumer card, for £700. What's the difference between those? When I started out, I had no idea. I still kind of don't know if I can buy, 10 NVIDIA, 1070s, or even the RTX cards, if I can buy a bunch of those versus buying one really good compute processor. And if you don't know what the difference is, like the compute ones won't have any video out. Now you have content creators like Linus, and you have Linux One or Level Up, and you also have like Jay's 2 Cents. They all do really great content, and they do the standard benchmarks and stuff like that. You have Dave 2D, who is as far as I'm concerned, the champ of champs when it comes to reviewing laptops. Always pushing those to their limits. And I think there's a possibility to discuss whether, you can get like these, I suppose, desktop grade laptops now that are, are they any good for that type of work? As someone who needs to take a laptop to client side, can I take that and use that in their thing? Can I take a bunch of external GPUs, and what, you know, which external enclosure should I be using if I want to use deep learning on external GPUs? Which GPU should I be putting them in? Will they run on my Razer Blade? Will they run on my MacBook Pro? Will they run on something else? Level 1 Linux does fantastic content when it, you know, multiple parts of in-depth looks at setting up like Linux for gaming, or setting up pfSense, or like Threadripper stuff. Like, you're talking like 40-minute videos that really dive into working with Linux in under like these what I consider consumer grade hardware, you know. And I think that whilst there's not going to be a massive market, there's not going to be millions and millions of people subscribing to a channel that's dedicated to looking at that stuff. I think that there is a place for that content to live. I think looking at consumer grade hardware for professional work is somewhat interesting. Or maybe I'm just crazy, maybe I'm just nuts, maybe I'm just annoyed because when I've been looking around at, you know, oh my god, should I upgrade to, you know, the new Threadrippers, or should I keep the same ones and just upgrade the graphics card? You know, is there any benefit to the work that I need to do? I know that it's not going to hit all those things, but if I knew that, you know, spending £40,000 on 4 GPUs is significantly going to save me time and also make me money in terms of the work that I do, then I'll invest in that. But if I can spend £4,000 on 4 RTX 2080s and still achieve a similar output, then I'll do that. That's what I'll do. And there isn't any of that. I have no idea. You know, Nvidia released these cards and they very specifically say they're not for gaming, right? But they never really get any real benchmarks. They occasionally, you might get someone that runs like a Blender benchmark on them, or they'll run Cinemark or 3D Mark on them, but that's not for people who need to do more and more of this work. That's not helpful. Building a home lab computer for deep learning is just kind of, you know, not looking at benchmarks. I've not really seen many benchmarks around that stuff for those components. You just kind of get advised to use them. So I'm going to look around. I'm going to see. I might reach out to a couple of content creators explaining that I'm happy to help on the software side of things, or on the trying to find good content, like trying to find like a good balance between, you know, they're gonna have connections at Nvidia for this, whereas I have zero connections at Nvidia. Nvidia aren't gonna send me a £10,000 card to benchmark for some video, but they might send, you know, Jay's 2 cents or Linus Tech Tips a video like a card like that to do a very specific, you know, what that card was made for test. We'll see how it goes. I did this live because I couldn't be bothered to like record and edit, so yeah, it's more of a wait and see. I would like to see that content. I would like to know if other people would like to see that content. If if it really came to it, down to it, I could potentially, do some benchmarking on some systems that I have access to, but not much.